I want to ask you a question. Why do you think you're here? Like, what do you think you're doing here? And what do you think are common themes in your life? Like, what are the things that come up a lot that start to make you think, this is sort of like me, this is my thing, this is my shtick? Like for me, it's been dreams, following your dreams. Got Velcro on my hat. Before I get into me, let me tell you about me. I am out on my walk and it was a little less than 1,000 degrees. So I decided to jump off the computer and get out here and go for like, I think it's like a 4.5 mile loop. And so it's a good little jaunt, perfect to kind of get the blood flowing. And I listened to my podcasts. And so one of the podcasts I was listening to was the one that I talk about a lot, which is Think Media. And I really like that. If you're trying to, build a business on YouTube, or just any videos at all on YouTube, it's just really good for that. There's lots of tech. There's also tech reviews if you just want tech reviews. So today Sean was talking about, I think the title, I'll include a link to this particular podcast episode, which is also a video podcast, which is why it's on YouTube as well. But I listen to it on the podcast app while I'm walking. But it was like how to be consistent on YouTube while you work a full-time job. And I thought, if this isn't a full circle moment for me, because as you guys know, if you've been watching the last couple of weeks, I started to do blogging again. I keep saying blogging. It's vlogging with a V. I've started to do vlogging again on my YouTube channel. And I'm going to do 100 videos for the rest of this year. I think I'm at 14 or something like that. So I got a ways to go, but I'm getting into it. I'm on a roll. But when I started my YouTube channel in 2006, the whole point of why I wanted to start it was so that I could vlog to people about my journey of working full-time and pursuing my dreams, like on the side, and how I was kind of navigating all of that and just sort of talk about that. So first, let me just say, him having that, Think Media having that as their title and their topic of today's podcast, actually I think it came out yesterday, but anyways, is amazing because that's total full circle for me. Second to that is it got me thinking about, this is my thing, and this has been going on for a long time. I've always talked about this. I've talked about this since I was a kid. I've talked about this since I was in high school. I talked about this when I was in my 20s. I talk about this. And it's just something that comes naturally for me. It's just, I'm always curious. And it's like it's like if, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like, if I always think of being here on earth as like, we're visitors, we're here visiting to learn things. And so like if you were visiting Florida and you saw someone with a shirt from the town you're from, you're like, hey, where are you from? I'm from there. And they're like, let's say Vacaville, since it's a small town. Like, are you from Vacaville? I'm from Vacaville. Or I lived in Vacaville. And they're like, oh yeah, I grew up in Vacaville. You're like, no way. And you're both in Florida, or you're both in Florence, Italy, or something, So you're going to form a bond with them. And, you're always going to kind of bring your home with you, right? That's how I feel. Like here, I'm always like trying to figure out like, where are they from? I mean, I know we're all kind of maybe from somewhere else. I have a whole theory about that. Don't get me started on my whole rabbit hole. But the point is just talking about dreams and about purpose and about learning about the deeper meanings of life and really connecting with that. I've always resonated with that. That's just so natural to me. It's like gravity. It's just natural. So I'm just saying, like, what is your thing? Can you think of anything? And if you have it, like, maybe put it down in the comments below. But if it's private, you don't have to do that either. But like, just think about that for a second. What is the thing you always talk about, think about, circle back to, like what's natural for you? Now, the other thing, which is the main thing I want to talk about, was in the podcast, he talks about very early in my earlier video, one of my earlier videos, I said right brain when I meant to say left brain. So left brain is more analytical and right brain is more creative. So this podcast episode was a very good left-brained approach to making your YouTube channel grow. Very smart, very practical, and I'm actually really good at stuff like that. I'm very good at breaking out the practicalities of a situation, prioritizing things, figuring out what the steps are necessary to manifest or accomplish something, like that's my thing. I'm very good at that. But I'm also good at the other side, which is the path I chose. And it was interesting because as I was walking up to this veranda where I sit down and I record these videos sometimes, there was a part where the road splits. On the one side, there's like a dirt path, and on the other side, there's a cement sidewalk. I felt like that described visually and energetically the exact message of what I want to say today. The Think Media video is the cement sidewalk. It's the way that is probably the best, it's the clearest, it's the one that somebody else has traveled before, which is why there's been cement poured there. It's made for your feet so you don't twist your ankle, you don't dirty your shoes, your tires of your bicycle roll over them really nicely. It's the smooth sailing, man-made, tried and true path. And then on the other side, the dirt path, which is actually also a man-graded path. It's not a true dirt path, but this is a neighborhood, so they probably had to make it so that people weren't going to trip and then sue them. But it's still earth. It's still the earth underneath your feet, which is organic, which is connecting you to nature. And there's all these studies done where people walk around barefoot on grass or dirt on earth, and how it helps lower blood pressure and improves your health. And so even though that man-made way makes sense, and if you're just trying to get from point A to point B, that's a very, very good thing to follow. And I teach, practical things in like my podcast course, how to start a podcast. That's what you do. You talk about the basics and the actual practical steps necessary. But the thing that I keep always going back to in my life is the spiritual journey. It's an intuitive journey, it's a creative journey, and it's totally different. But then it's not always so different, because there's also this whole long stretch where this cement path is next to the dirt path. And, they're going along. Sometimes they split apart, but then they come back together. And I feel like that's life too. Like there's times I stray from like that practical plan or planning or way of doing things because my spirit has guided me somewhere else. And I've always been guided from my father, who's a very left brain electrical engineer, to, there's a golf course over here, so there's like, arr. Exactly, I shouldn't have listened to my dad. No, my dad has been instrumental in helping me follow through, like get stronger on that whole side of my life, the left brain side. Because I think I came into this lifetime with a really strong connection to my right brain, my spirit, and following that and reading energies and stuff. And then my dad, being an electrical engineer, I think was so, I chose him. I chose him to be my dad. I know I did, because he helped me just put what all this is over here sometimes and get strong over here. Because ultimately all of it is spirit. Even the cement path is from, we're all creators. So even the cement path is under the same umbrella. But in terms of your day-to-day and the choices you make, those are two different paths. So for me, I've always sort of been learning about the cement path, but teaching about the dirt path. And I'm also learning about the dirt path too, because I'm always learning. I'm never not learning. But I do feel like that's probably going to be like the meat of the work that I do is, and have been, but I'm going to maybe formalize it a little bit more, is teaching people how to read those messages and signs. Like Native American, cultures read nature and animals and plants and the sky, and like everything is sort of speaking to us. And that's how I feel. I feel like I look at stuff like that. I have such a high respect for that, because I believe it's our foundation of where we're coming from. We're visitors and we're here, and there's messages all around us. I always say everything that we need to know is in life. Like the answers to the thing over here is in life somewhere. So like when I'm pruning rose bushes at my mom's house, let's say, I learned so much about energy flow and why you need to cut off certain branches so that the energy of the plant could go back in to the roots. When you do a hard prune in the winter, you're really just like kind of giving that bush a break. So all the energy goes back into the roots. Or if you're pruning it during its growing season, you're taking that vital life force energy and redirecting it into things that'll make the flower or the plant have better blooms and be healthier. Same is true with grapevines. And it's not always about cutting away something that looks dead or diseased. Because sometimes, like I know when I was pruning in the grapevine, in the vineyard, you have to cut off things that look healthy, but you have to do that because you're thinking about next year's fruit production and what's going to be best for this vine, this plant next year. Pruning is really important. So anyways, this is what I'm trying to say, is that the energy of everything can teach you so much about life. That's what metaphors are. That's why I love filmmaking. That's why I like any kind of visual art. That's why I like tarot cards. I like anything that's energy and archetypes and imagery that teaches us about the life experience here on earth as a human being, like all the different things that we have to deal with and learn about. And so I think that's going to be, kind of where I'm going to be putting my work towards. I'm just not sure where. That's why I'm trying to figure out with this channel. Like, this is sort of like a vlogging channel. I mean, it is right now. But then I said I wanted to maybe start like a tutorial, because I do have a lot of practical knowledge in terms of being an executive assistant and an office manager at different, like a record label and a movie studio and things like that. So I excel in that stuff, and I can help people with that because it comes naturally for me. And I know a lot about computers and software and film equipment and editing video and audio and all of that. Okay. So I think I'd be a good tech guru, but I also feel called to that other path, which is teaching about the messages, but I'm not sure how to formalize that. That's like kind of new for me. So I've been studying some of these online coaches in the spirit world that are good, and I'm trying to kind of see what they're doing. But then I'm thinking, where do I live on that spectrum? Because I'm definitely a practical person. I'm not all the way into this, but I'm not only this, because if I start to focus on this side only, I get very depressed because it's not true to my spirit. I feel like there's this whole other gift that I've been given from, I was born with it, this understanding of energy and metaphors and everything. Why would I ignore that just to be like, let's learn Excel, It's like, why? So I'm trying to figure it out. And then it's like, they always say the riches are in the niches. So I'm thinking, well, why don't I just create something that's a big pot that contains everything? Because most people the search engines, if they come to your channel and they're looking for Excel, tutorials, they're not going to naturally, most people, some people are, but they're not going to naturally go, and I would like to learn about how to analyze my dreams. Also, I want to learn about Excel, and I want to learn about analyzing my dreams all at the same time. Usually that's not the same person. So anyways, if you have any suggestions of channels even that you love that kind of blend the left brain and right brain, I would love to see examples of that. And I'll keep my eye out too, and I'll let you know if I find any. But yeah, so check out the Think Media video. I'll post it below if you're interested. I definitely recommend following them. They're just very consistent. I've been following them for many years now, and so I've kind of watched them grow, and it's been really cool. So they really are the real deal. They're not overnight kind of thing. They've been growing. Sean Cannell has been growing his business, and he's added people to it, and then they added the podcast, and I really enjoy it. So anyways, I'm going to get back to walking because I have a long way to go, but I'm going to put my glasses on over my glasses because I work on my computer all the time and my eyes are toast, okay? And I have light colored eyes. So, and it's 1,000,000 degrees and it's very bright here, but very beautiful. I love being here. I'm very grateful for my life. I'm grateful for you being here watching this video right now. And I'm just grateful that I live in a time in my life where I can even make videos, that I'm not in a place where there's war, where there's no internet, where, I have a phone. Like, I could be in a time in my life where I don't even have a phone and I can't record video. Or I live in an area where I can't sit down and put my phone up and record a video because someone might walk by and steal it. I've lived in a lot of places like that, so not a lot, but So I'm very grateful, and the opposite of anxiety is gratitude. And so when I do get a lot of anxiety, I just try to refocus on all the things I'm grateful for. Usually I'll do, what are the top 3 things I'm grateful for right now? and I'll really think about it, or I'll just list as many as I can think of. Okay, that's it. Back to the path. Hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.